Hi everyone, I tried my hand at some real gumbo you see here, and it was so worth it. Let me show you. Here I am browning a pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I'm cooking over medium heat, and I have lightly seasoned them, y'all, with 1 teaspoon each of onion powder, garlic powder, poultry seasoning, as well as 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper, along with 2 teaspoons of Creole seasoning. And I'm just going to let these brown a bit. Here I'm just breaking it up some, y'all, just a bit in half before I remove them from the skillet. And once I remove my chicken thighs, I'm not going to leave all that goodness. I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of water, y'all, and pour right into the skillet and pick up all that goodness. And then I'm going to set that goodness aside for later on, y'all. Now for my roux over kind of medium-low heat, y'all, I am cooking a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour along with an equal amount, a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil in this pot. And I'm going to start off just stirring it until the flour mix is silky smooth. And then once it is silky smooth like that, y'all, I'm just going to keep stirring and stirring and stirring until my roux turns a rich chocolate color. Now this took me about 15 to 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes to reach that color right there. Beautiful dark roux. Now I am ready to add my vegetables. That's 1 large chopped onion, 1 chopped bell pepper, and 2 large stalks of celery, chopped celery. And I'm going to let my vegetables cook down for about 5 minutes, until they get a little soft here, y'all. And then once my vegetables cook down, I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of chopped cloves of garlic. There goes my chopped garlic. And then I'm going to let that cook for about a minute. And this is still over medium heat. And then once that cooks down, I am going to be adding, let's see, coming up, 1 pound of andouille sausage. Now you can definitely brown the sausage beforehand, but today I just decided to go ahead and throw it right there into the pot and let it cook on through the process. And here I am adding a little bit of that liquid that I pulled up from the chicken, kind of get things loosen up a bit. And then once I get it nice and loose, I'm going to be adding back in my chicken. Let's see if that's what I'm about to add. The chicken, yes, right back into the pot. It goes into the pot. It goes. And then once I get the chicken into the pot, I'm still kind of chopping it up a bit as I go. Now I'm going to be seasoning my gumbo with a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon paprika, about a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, as well as a 1/2 teaspoon of dry thyme. And I'm also going to be adding, that's a little black pepper that I added as well. And I'm also going to be adding 4 bay leaves. And there goes about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now after my seasoning, I'm adding 1 quart or 6 cups of chicken broth, as well as 2 cups of beef broth that I wanted to use up instead of 2 cups of water. So I'm pouring that right on into the pot. Now all together, I'm going to let this simmer over this medium heat. I'm going to bring it up to a nice soft boil and then let it simmer for about 30 to 35 minutes. Here I'm adding in those 4 bay leaves. Stirring it in and a little bit more. The rest of that liquid, as a matter of fact, that I picked up from the chicken at the very beginning. Now I am going to cover this pot and again let it simmer for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then after 35 minutes, y'all, I'm adding a bag of okra. Now these were frozen okra that I kind of thawed out in the refrigerator. And I'm going to let the okra cook for about 20 minutes. Covered. And then once that okra cooks, y'all, it's going to come up to a nice little boil just like this. And what I'm doing here is adding just a light layer of my seasoning that I started with, the paprika, the thyme, and everything that I listed before, y'all. Those same seasoning I'm just adding to the pot after I had tasted it. And this is the last layer of seasoning right here. No more than a half teaspoon each. And then there goes my little sprinkling of salt. Now I'm going to swoosh that around just a bit before adding out. I have a bag of small shrimp that I'm adding in. Now once I add this shrimp in, I got the heat turned off at this point, and I'm just going to let the shrimp kind of cook on its own with the remainder of the heat. About 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes after adding that shrimp, y'all, I am adding 2.5 teaspoons of gumbo filet. Actually, y'all, let me back up. That's 2.5 tablespoons of gumbo filet and a nice hefty amount of fresh parsley. And then, y'all, basically, I'm stirring that in because basically this pot of gumbo is ready after about simmering for about, I give it a total of an hour and a half that I simmered my gumbo, y'all, all together, because you want those flavors, y'all, to get settled in. And here I have it all plated up for you to see. Look at that beautiful, beautiful soupy color right there. Look at that right there, y'all. Look at that. Look at that andouille sausage and that okra on top of that, y'all. I'm telling you, I was absolutely impressed with this pot of gumbo right here, y'all. Absolutely impressed. Delicious, y'all. Delicious. My first pot of gumbo. Absolutely delicious. Thanks for watching, y'all. Till next time. I hope you try it, though. Bye-bye.